service asked me questions about who Jesus was. Tears began to flow down my face. At the age of 6, shortly after being baptized, he began to read his Bible every night. There were many nights when I would say, RJ, cut that light off, baby. I love for you to read, but you have to sleep. You have school in the morning. Soon he got smart, and he turned the light off, but he used a flashlight so he could read under his covers, so I wouldn't see it. As the years went by with him playing sports, getting his black belt in karate, and practicing it on his sister Cindy, he still continued to read his Bible. You might be asking at this point, did he ever get a whooping? Yes, he did. We believe in raising our children up to be obedient and respectful. Bud and I knew there was something very different and special about our son. He was very smart and observant. One Tuesday night in November of 1997, I walked into RJ's room and he was reading his Bible, and there was a feeling that came all over me and I couldn't explain it. I went into Bud's office in our home and said, honey, something is going on with RJ, and I don't know what it is. He said, I know. And we began to cry. On my way to work the next day, a voice spoke to me and said, your son is going to preach my word. Tears began to flow down my face, and they were so heavy that I had to pull over and sit in my car for several minutes before going into the office. When I walked in, my manager asked, was I okay? And I said yes, because she couldn't understand what had just happened to me, because I did. The next day, which was a Thursday evening, RJ was playing basketball, but he really wasn't into the game. After the game was over, I asked him if he was okay. And he said, Mama, I need to talk to you about something. I was driving and I said, tell me what you need to talk about. He said, I'll tell you when I get home. I was in the living room hanging curtains, and he said, Mama, we need to talk. I said, that's right. He said, Mama, I've been having dreams and seeing myself preaching. God wants me to preach. I started screaming and crying and running around the house. I said, I know, baby. God already told me. God told me he would preach his word, but he did not say he would be 13 years old. When he received his call, his sister Cindy ran into the room and said, what's wrong? I said, nothing. Your brother is going to preach. And we began to embrace each other. I told RJ he would need to talk to his pastor, Reverend Gus Walker. When he did, Pastor Walker said that he already knew. On January the 11th, 1998, he preached his first sermon at Divine Healing Temple Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Gus Walker, now known as Kingdom Vision International Church. Later, Pastor Walker, along with Pastor Robert Brunson Sr. and other pastors, ordained RJ as a minister. Since that day, January 11, 1998, his life has never been the same, and neither has ours. Some of you were there. Some of you here tonight were present 17 years ago when Pastor R.J. Matthews preached his first sermon at the age of 13. Tonight, Zion Johnson, a member of Kingdom Vision International Church in Columbus, Mississippi, will be presenting a reenactment of Pastor R.J. Matthews' first sermon. This awesome and talented young man is the son of Jeffrey and Monte Johnson. He is an honor student at Stokesbeard Elementary School. He loves God and his pastor and his first lady. He considers it an honor and a privilege to stand before you tonight.
God has worked many miracles. He healed the sick, he raised the dead, and he cleansed the lepers. Oftentimes, we get mixed up between the two T's, title and testimony. You see, a title is an inscription over anything, a heading or a name. But you see, a testimony is a witness of divine revelation.
Yes.
You see, people get hooked on having a title, but they forget all about their testimony. And when I look back, I think about what it is. Oh, we had a title. But then I think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Oh, they had a testimony. How God lifted them from the fiery furnace. Somebody say, thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Pharaoh had a title. But think about Moses. Oh, he had a testimony. We shouldn't strive to have a title. Sometimes we ought to sit down and think about our testimony. All the deacons have a title, but they ought to have a testimony. All the ushers have a title, but they ought to have a testimony. All the musicians have a title, but they ought to have a testimony. All the singers have a title, but they ought to have a testimony. All of them out there in the pews have a title, but you ought to have a testimony. I got a testimony. What about you? I got a new way of living, and it feels good. I can tell you, and many others can tell you too. I used to have the worst attitude you ever did see. I didn't want to do my work. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to clean up the house, and I didn't want to clean up my room. It's true. I'll admit, I still don't want to do some of those things now. I used to have the quickest temper, and that's when Jesus stepped in. That evening, I walked up to my mama, and I was telling her how I felt. I was telling her I felt like Peter walking on water. He woke me up this morning, and evidently, he woke me up this morning too. He clothed you in your right mind and allowed you to come out here today.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't strive to have a title, but sometimes we ought to sit down and think about our testimony.
That's all right.
Keep on praising